ولا توفيقي ولا اعتصامي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولا نظير له ولا مثال له الذي لا أحصي ثناء عليه كما أثنى على نفسه عز جاره وجل ثناؤه ولا يهزم جنده ولا يخلف وعده ولا إله غيره وأشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا ومولانا محمدا عبده وحبيبه ورسوله السابق إلى الأنام نوره ورحمة للعالمين ظهوره صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأولاده وأزواجه وأصحابه وأتباعه وأحفاده أجمعين أما بعد فيا عباد الله اتقوا الله وأطيعوه إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم. Dear brothers and sisters, as you are all aware, we have been extremely saddened by the heartbreaking news coming from Turkey and Syria since Monday morning. It is next to impossible to grasp the gravity of the situation on the ground. The region has been hit by one of the biggest earthquakes of the century. Things we watch, things we hear, things we read, they are just overwhelming. They've been desperately trying to rescue people from the rubble of the collapsed buildings. And the death toll is already over 20,000. Considering the number of the people under the debris, a lot more is expected. It is such a dire situation that goes beyond any description. It is very difficult to talk after such a calamity, but I'm obliged to make a few points, raise a few issues for your consideration. Each deserves a broad, a lengthy discussion, but in the interest of time I have to be brief. May Allah grant them Jannatul Firdaus. We have reason to believe for those who passed away to have attained the honor of Shahada. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a hadith, which is a muttafaqun alayh hadith, الشهداء خمسة, al-martyrs, the martyrs, الشهداء, the martyr is 5 kinds, among which is the one who dies under the debris. So we have every reason to believe that inshallah they have attained that honor. In order to protect ourselves from falling into confusion, in order to protect our faith from getting shattered, in order to protect our bond and relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from getting hurt, we have to put things in perspective. Life is filled with challenges, and in certain times it is more so. It is more intensified. Rasulullah says in a famous hadith, عجبا لأمر المؤمن إن أمره كله له خير وليس ذلك إلا للمؤمن إن أصابته السراء شكر فكان خيرا له وإن أصابته الضراء صبر فكان خيرا له. He says how wonderful the affair of the believer is. Indeed, all of his affairs are good for him. This is for no one but the believer. If something good happens to him, he is grateful to Allah, and this is good for him. If something bad happens to him, he shows patience, and again, this is good for him. In order to accomplish this task, or this beautiful thing mentioned in the hadith, in order to accomplish that, we have to follow closely the guidance of the Quran. Allah provides us with guidance as to how to act and react in difficult times, in turbulent times. So we have to remember them and follow them closely. I would like to share few examples from that guidance. From Surah Al-Hajj, this is just the right time to remember those guidance, pieces of advice from Quran. That is why I want to bring them to your attention. وَبَشِّرِ الْمُخْبِتِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَهُمْ وَالْمُقِيمِ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Give glad tidings, give bishara to the deeply devoted, humble servants, to those whose hearts, when Allah is mentioned, are filled with fear and respect, who show patient perseverance over their afflictions, keep up regular prayer, and spend in charity out of what we have bestowed upon them. Another ayah from Surah Al-A'raf, وَبَلَغْنَاهُمْ بِالْحَسَنَاتِ وَالسَّيِّئَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. We have tried them with both prosperity and adversity so that they might turn to us. So these are also the time, also the opportunity for us to return to Allah with more wholeheartedly. And one of the ayats I wanted to mention is the one I recited in the beginning. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ راجعون أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. Be sure we shall test you with something of fear and hunger, some loss in goods or lives or the fruits, but give glad tidings to those who patiently persevere, who say, when afflicted with calamity, to Allah we belong, and to Him is our return. They are those on whom descend blessings from Allah and mercy, and they are the ones that receive guidance. And to keep it brief, I would like to move on to my second point that I wanted to make today. On the other hand, those who fail to fulfill their responsibility, and that failure caused harm to people, they have to be held accountable. This is completely a different matter, and there's a clear distinction to be made between the two. One cannot get away with their negligence or shortcomings or delinquency by referring certain religious values and principles. Like, you have a responsibility, you are a builder, you build buildings, but you don't do it properly and they collapse because of your failure to follow the rules and regulations. You just can't say, this is qadar, oh, this is from Allah. No, you have the responsibility. This is true for the people, this is true for the companies, this is true for the governments, everybody. No one is exempt from this. So, shielding behind the religious principles and values is nothing more than abuse of faith, nothing more than making false accusations towards Allah. So it is not okay for someone who is responsible for taking the necessary precautions and failed to do so. So it is not okay for him to take shield behind qadar and other religious values and principles and items of faith. Yes, we could be and we should be content and well pleased with Allah regardless of what happens to us. This is praiseworthy, but as I explained, these are two different things and there's a clear distinction to be made between the two. And lastly, Rasulullah says, this is also a muttafaqun alayh hadith, mentioned both in Bukhari and Muslim, مثل المؤمنين في تواضهم وتراحمهم إلى آخر الحديث. Rasulullah says, the parable of the believers in their affection, mercy, and compassion for each other is that of a body. When any limb acts in pain, the whole body reacts with sleeplessness and fever. So the other one is also, this reminds me of, he is not a believer whose stomach is full while the neighbor goes to bed hungry or starving to his side. So many other verses and ahadith remind us our responsibility. It is vital that we do our best. Three things. We share the pain. We should be sensitive the way a mu'min should be. We should be sensitive. We should share the pain. And then we should use any means available to us to be of help. We should do our best. This is the second. And third, we should keep praying for those in need and in pain, in difficulty. So these three all are necessary at the same time. Making prayers will not make it necessary for us to make monetary donation or whatever way we could be of help. So these three are all together at the same time, simultaneously necessary for us to be able to fulfill our responsibility. So these 3 points I want to bring to your attention. May Allah guide us in these turbulent, difficult times. May Allah help us show patient perseverance. ألا إن أحسن كلام أبلغ النظام كلام الله الملك العزيز العلام كما قال الله تبارك وتعالى في الكلام وإذا قرئ القرآن فاستمعوا له وأنصتوا لعلكم ترحمون أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الدين عند الله الإسلام صدق الله. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله حمد الكاملين كما أمر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله النبي المعتبر تعظيما للنبي وتكريما لفخامة شان شرف الصفي فقال الله عز وجل من قائل مخبرا وآمرا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما لبيك. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Now it is our time, inshallah, to show our generosity. I